All right, ladies and gents. So we are going to do a quick overview of how to find the slope from 2 points, but not using the slope formula. So I know some of you may have learned slope formula in middle school. You may have seen it on IXL, or you may have practiced it with another teacher. But for this particular video, we are going to focus on how to find the slope without having to plug it into the slope formula when we are given 2 points. So go ahead and write these two ordered pairs on your paper in your notebook. And to be reminded, in order to find the slope, M represents slope. Slope is also rise over run. Remember that rise is your Y values because Y goes up or down, and your run are your X values because those go from left to right. So that is why when we're using this particular method or even the slope formula, you have to put the Y's on top of the X's. So the order does matter. In order for us to be able to subtract the Y's and then subtract the X's, we want to take a moment to go ahead and actually label our ordered pairs. So we have X always comes first in an ordered pair, then Y, and then we have X and then Y. So the beautiful thing about this particular method is you don't have to do X1, Y1, X2, Y2, just label XY, XY, and now we're going to get going. Now, you may have wondered, why do I have this car in the corner? Well, if you guys have ever taken an Uber or a Lyft, or you've ordered Uber Eats, or you've used an app where you can see where someone is moving, you're able to see their car coming closer towards you or moving away from you. You can actually see the pathway that the car is supposed to take. So we're going to take that same concept and we're going to follow the pathway for to find our slope. We're going to use pathways to find our slope. So we're going to start off here with our Y values. So it says subtract the Y's. So my first Y is here, the 7. So I'm going to draw a pathway from this Y to my next Y, which is positive 10. Now it says that I'm supposed to be subtracting, so I am going to draw a minus sign. I'm kind of bold it out, so I'm going to draw a minus sign because I know I'm supposed to be subtracting those Y values. I'm going to take my little car, and if I'm Ubering, if I'm an Uber driver, I'm going to start here at the 7. So my path starts at the 7. So my first pickup is going to be at 7. Now, if I keep going on my Uber path, what do I pick up next? Oh, you pick up this minus sign. So now I've got the 7 and the minus sign in the car with me. And I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to pick up the positive 10 next. So I'm going to write 10. So now on my first Uber trip, when I went to pick up the Y's, this is what I ended up with. 7 minus 10. I ended up with 7 minus 10. Now we're going to go and we are going to do our X values. So I'm going to draw a pathway from my first X, which is positive 8, over to my second X, which is negative 7. So I have a pathway going from positive 8 all the way to negative 7. And because I'm kind of running out of space, I'm going to move some things up here just to give myself some space. Oh, they're connected. It didn't matter. All right. Well, it says subtract the X's. So same deal. Since I'm subtracting the X's on that pathway, I know I have to put a minus or a subtraction sign because I'm going to be subtracting those X's somewhere along the way. So now my Uber gets a new route. This time the route's going to start at positive 8. My route is starting at positive 8, so I'm going to write my 8 down here on the bottom. And we're going to go along our Uber path. Vroom, 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 vroom. All right, what do I pick up next? My next pickup, I pick up that minus sign. So I have to write that minus sign. I'm going to go ahead and bold it out some by making it darker. So I got my minus sign. and back to Ubering. Vroom, 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 vroom. My next stop on my X path is to pick up -7. Now, I have to write that I picked up -7. If I pick up just 7, I did not pick up the right passenger. I am not going to get paid. I have failed as an Uber driver. So make sure, because my last stop, I'm picking up a -7, I have to also write that it's a full -7. My minus sign that I already picked up is not the same person. Okay, so from here, we're just going to use our simple integer rules to go ahead and begin simplifying. Up top, I have 7 minus 10. So I ask myself, are my signs the same or are my signs different? It's a +7 and a -10. So that would be, they're different. So when my signs are different, I subtract. The number I get is 3. However, we have to keep the larger sign. And in this case, 10 is negative. So it's a -3. Now I look down on the bottom, and I have, 8 minus -7. So we have to kind of remember, I've got to turn this into a big plus. So whenever I have that double negative there, it's got to turn into a big plus. So I'm going to write my big plus. And that's going to stay a 7. So now when I go to finish my calculation, I still have my -3 up top. Over, and 8 plus 7 is, you got it, dude, it's 15. Now, most of us will be like, ooh, yes, I'm done. I did some math and I think I got it right. But we are not finished. You are only finished when your answer is in simplest terms or simplest form. So you do have to simplify or reduce. And in order to do that, we use division. So what number can I divide evenly into 3 and 15? What number do they have in common? No, I can't divide them both by 5. 3 divided by 5 is not a whole number. That won't work. I can't divide by a number bigger than the smaller number of my fraction. So the largest number I could possibly divide by is 3. Now, I know that a negative divided by a positive is still going to give me a negative. And 3 divided by 3 is going to be 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. Now, some of you may be asking, but I don't know why. How come it's not just the whole number 5? Why can't it just be a negative whole number 5, a -5? Why does it have to stay a fraction? And that, my friend, is simply because I need you to understand that 3 over 5 and 5 over, it's not 3 over 5. Sorry. Let me backtrack. This should have been 3 over 15. You need to know that 3 over 15 is not the same thing as 15 over 3. Because 15 divided by 3 is a whole number. This will give me 5. Because the larger number is on top. Over here, 3 over 15, the larger number is not on top. And no, you can't flip it because it just makes you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. No, you have to leave it the way it is. So if the larger number is not on top, you cannot flip it. So in this case, we did not have 15 divided by 3. We had 3 divided by 15, which is why our final answer for our slope, m equals -1 over 5.